She's on. Well, good evening. Wow, talk about under the gun. We are just sliding in under the gun. Welcome. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to the Attitude Shift. I'm Donna M. Butler. Sitting next to me, Ariel Butler.
Hello.
Hashtag Real Talk. And Siobhan Shaw on the microphone and the headsets. How are you, darling?
Can you hear me?
We have our guest Renee Mollan-Masters with us as well. She just slid in under the wire. We saw you pop up, Renee. We'll be right back to you in a sec.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. All right, good.
So here we're going to get geared up. We're going to start the Attitude Shift. And for all of you wondering what I'm doing, I'm feeling the pain of all the people in Buffalo, New York, and all the surrounding area where they're getting dumped on with snow. So I've got my toque on.
Your what?
My toque. My toque.
Your toque. Okay.
My toque.
That's your hat or your scarf or your muffs.
Oh yeah, I've even got muffs on. No, these are actually my headphones. No, a toque is Canadian slang for hat, like a cap.
All right.
This is my wool cap, right?
All right. You wearing that tonight?
So we didn't get any snow here, so I'm just you know, I'm carrying a torch for all those people that are snowed in.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, you guys didn't know it was a toque?
No, I didn't know what a toque was. I had no idea what a toque was.
I have no idea either. I've never heard of that.
Me neither.
To you.
To you.
Took to you. So, Siobhan, I'm dealing with some mouth issues right now, so I'm so glad to have my sidekick with me, squeezed in the front seat. I lost my cap to my tooth. I don't know if I ate it or what happened to it, but it's gone, and so I'm working on an Ambisol tube right now. My second tube of Ambisol wedged up in my face. So glad to have Ariel on the ride with us tonight, just in case I have to pass the wheel over to her tonight.
So when you start drooling, she'll step in.
Yes. That's right. When I start drooling, you keep seeing me. Look, I have something right here.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! We're going to scare Renee. We're going to scare Renee because she's on to talk about are you smarter than you think, and we're not coming across as too bright right now.
You guys are a comedy team. You're funny.
We've been told that before too. We've been told that before, so we're looking forward to kicking up some rocks with you tonight.
All right.
So Donna, before we find out if we're smarter than we think with Renee, what do you have to rev your engine about?
I want to rev my engine a little bit about what's going on in the media right now with Dr. Bill Cosby. You know, as they say, America's dad or whatever. Looks like he's kind of sliding from grace right now. Looks like what we're doing with Bill Cosby right now is kind of putting him under a lamp. Some people are already finding him guilty. The court of public opinion has pretty much thrown him out. NBC has stopped production of the show that he started. They have even stopped showing the Cosby Show on TV Land tonight. As of tonight, they have stopped showing all repeats of the Cosby Show. So it sounds like to me that they've already kind of taken these 13 women over these past 40-something years, listen to them, believe them, and, you know, Dr. Cosby has fallen from grace. So what else is new, you know? So I'm revving my engines on that, and I'm saying what else is new? How many more people do we have to put on these pedestals and worship them, and then when something happens, you know, they fall from grace, we're so surprised. You know, we've got to stop being so surprised at some of these things. And we just, I just feel we have to do that.
Well, and I think so. I think we come across like, oh my goodness, you can't possibly be like that. You don't know. We actually don't know. We you know, these are all allegations. We don't know anything yet, but we've already hung him. So that's it for his career. That's it. You know, he's probably too old to come back. We don't, we just don't know the circumstances, and we don't know if it's truth or it's some kind of big put on or anything like that. Because we don't have video or audio or anything like that, we do have lots of different videos and audio tapes of people who really have done these kinds of things. And there's actually a guy, Julian Blanc, who is called himself a dating coach, and he is doing videos. He did a video to show men how to be aggressive towards women they date, like actually like chokeholds and like grabbing their head and putting it down in his crotch and stuff like that. I mean, it's just beyond ridiculous that we allow this stuff to be out in public. I mean, just that it gets on the internet, and then other impressionable young men and old men and dirty old men, all these people that are a little bit loony, they're a little screw loose, and they think it's all right to treat women like this. We just keep giving them more material to use. We need to stop.
Right. And one thing I didn't like, and I'm going to be honest, and I can take the heat or the flack, one thing I have not liked so far about what's going on with Dr. Cosby is that he has not come out and said really anything. I said earlier tonight, is when we get so big that we have to have other people speak for us, our lawyers speak for us, our public relations people speak for us. I feel that it's more authentic when we speak for ourselves. I feel that if there's something that he needs to say, that he needs to come out and say it. I'm a person that I believe in sitting down with these women. 13 women have accused this man of something, and all their stories are similar. I'm the type of person, I'm going to address this. I'm going to address, if I'm innocent, I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. And I'm not going to settle out of court. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to scream it, I'm going to face you, and we're going to talk about this. But it just seems like when these people get caught in these positions, they run and they hide. They hide behind the spin doctors. They hide behind the people, that give them the advice to be quiet. And I think that it's been swept under the rug long enough. So that should kind of give you an idea of where I'm at. I think it's been swept under the rug enough. And these women, if this has happened to them, that they should boldly come out and boldly together say what's going on. And he should be held accountable.
Well, and it's true. And we're going to skip on to our guest, Renee Mollan-Masters, because I do want to find out if I'm smarter than I think. And I recently took an IQ test because I never had taken an IQ test, so I took one of those online ones, so that's really a serious one. But I found out I actually was smarter than I thought, according to that. So Renee is with us. She wrote a book, and she has a program called You Are Smarter Than You Think. And we're going to get her on to ask her what this is all about. And Renee, welcome to the Attitude Shift, and jump in the passenger seat, and we'll go for a little spin with you.
Okay, I'm ready. Seatbelt on.
Okay. Okay, so you were in second grade and not doing so well?
Well, I was, hanging in there, but my very best friend, best friends in second grade are important, and she got sent to third grade. And when I asked her why, she said that the adults had told her that she was smarter than the rest of us. So, you know what I did with that? I thought, I'm stupid. So then, fast forward, we're in a college botany class together. And
oh, you got to college together?
yeah, we ended up in a college botany class together, which was taught experientially. So, like, if we're talking about a pine cone, we have a pine cone in our hand, okay? And after the first test, the teacher announced that I had gotten the A, and she had gotten a C, because I asked her afterwards what she got. And it just blew my brain. I mean, I couldn't put it together. Like, what happened? And I didn't know what happened. And my school experience was schizophrenic. 1 minute I was really smart, and the next minute I wasn't very smart. And I didn't understand it, and then I read Dr. Howard Gardner's book, Frames of Mind. And what he talks about in that book is that brains are more different than fingerprints. Let that in. Brains are more different than fingerprints. And that different brains need different things in order to learn. And so what I realized is that when I was in second grade, my friend was considered smart, not because necessarily she was smart, but because the way the information was coming to her lined up with her brain. And the reason that I did well in that experiential botany class is it lined up with my brain. And that's all we're talking about. They weren't talking about intelligence. They were talking about the way in which the information was coming across.
So we could all be as intelligent as one another. All four of us could be equally intelligent, but we may not know that because one of us learns differently. So therefore, if we took a test, maybe one of us would fail badly and one of us would get 100%. Correct?
Absolutely. In any classroom, this is a general piece, but in any classroom, the teacher is able to communicate and get to only about 1/3 of those students. The rest are sitting going, what is going on here? And so what we've discovered 25 years ago in working with nursing students is that you can, once you figure out what your brain talent is, you can then transform any learning situation into something that works for you. So you don't have to be at the effect. Like in that botany class, if my friend had known how to use her brain, she didn't have to be at the effect of that experiential teaching. She could have gotten an A too.
Okay, so what you're saying, Renee, is that we really don't know the potential of how to make that brain work for us like that?
Has anybody ever asked you, do you know how to learn? Has anybody ever asked you that question?
No.
Okay. No. Okay. Did any teacher ever tell you this is how you personally need to use your brain? This is, brains are all different than fingerprints, so they're really different. Did anybody ever say, okay, this is the way you do it? For you, personal?
No.
No. Okay. No. So what we've done in our educational system is we set it up for 2/3 of the population to feel like dummies.
Wow.
I felt like a dummy. And even though I got a master's degree in speech pathology, there was always this little thing in my head saying, you're not as smart as you think you are. Until I read Dr. Gardner's book, and then I put all the pieces together and I went, okay, I am smart. And what's happening is like when we brought this out, actually started putting this program together, nurses were really needed, and they were flunking at like 80% of the students were flunking out of nursing schools. So we would go in, teach these students how to use their brains correctly, and in one semester the retention rates doubled because the kids knew how to learn. Today's kids don't know how to learn. They know how to memorize, but they don't know how to learn.
And I wanted to touch on that. I'm glad you said that because I have a son. He's in the 4th grade. He's been held back, and he's in a smaller classroom now. He's in a special education classroom. And you know what? I went to visit a couple weeks ago, and I was stunned at what was going on in that class. It was like my son was just like sitting there. Other kids were grasping some of the things. One girl had got completely out of her chair and was wandering around. These are 7 kids in one class. Now, they're all being taught the same thing, but they're all on different levels of struggling. My son struggles with reading, and to some kids it's very easy, but for him it's very difficult. And then I started wondering, what is he not getting? And it's so funny, what is he not getting? I sat there and watched the teacher teach the same thing to all 7 children, but yet he still was struggling. And another girl, like I said, was completely, gone off the mark. She wasn't even paying attention. So what's going on with their brains then? What's going on? I mean,
There's nothing wrong. I mean, okay, let me start by saying that at California State University, Sacramento, and at Eastern Michigan State, in both of those schools, they have used our program in the, quote, learning disabled program, and what they have found is that lots of times kids are not learning disabled, they just learn in a different way.
right.
So if I had your child, I would find some money and I would send him to a Waldorf or a Montessori school. That's what I would do, if you ask my opinion. The reason I would, but it's expensive, but the reason I would do that is he's an alternative learner. He's 7 years, how old is he? 7?
No, he is.
He's in 7th grade.
He's 11. He's in the 4th grade. He's 11.
He's in the 4th grade. Okay. If I don't know, I would send him to one of those schools, because what they do in the Waldorf or in the Montessori schools is that they honor the kid where he is. They help him discover how he learns best for these little guys. My program is for junior high, high school, and college.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's going on. He's not stupid.
No, by no means. And I see that in his math scores and in other scores, he's great.
And he can't. And so what we're talking about here is that you're seeing these areas of intelligence, but he doesn't know how to take those areas and apply them to the other side of the coin. And what we do is, once you figure out how your brain works, then you have tools so that you can be successful in all the different areas that you need to be successful in, because you know how to use the system. I mean, if you don't know how to drive a car, if you don't know how to drive a car, and you get into a car for the first time, what do you think would happen? I mean, I just got a new car that's push button. I have so much trouble remembering. You push the button, push the brake first. You know, it's like learning a new thing. But if you've never driven a car before, you're going to run it off the road. You're going to crash into things. And that's how we use our brain.
I just got this. Right?
Oh my God!
It's a loaner. Somebody gave it to me. Oh, look, I can see myself. I don't know how to use it, and my friend was like, "Well, just text me." I don't even know how to turn it on.
Yes,
I'm like, because I see people tapping it, right? I'm like, tap it. I had to ask her how to turn it on. And then she's like, okay, well, turn it on. And I'm like, yeah, but how do I get past, like, the first screen? And I can't show you because it shows my phone number, because she wrote out my phone number and took a picture of it. So I actually know my phone number. And then, so there I am tapping. Oh, and then, so I had to slide the thing to unlock it. And then I got a text. I'm not sure. My thumbs are too big. I don't know. I don't know how to text. And then so I figured out how to text, but I can't put periods or commas or exclamation marks. I haven't figured that out yet. So all I've got down right now is how to text, how to add a contact, but the text is all one line. Like, there's no punctuation marks at all. So you better understand what I'm talking about.
You sound like you're not very smart. But no,
I'm not. Obviously, I'm dumb as a post.
You're very smart, but you don't know how to use that machine in your hand and this brain up here.
Oh yeah, it's just a disconnect, right?
Yeah. So it
makes me feel stupid.
It makes you feel stupid. Think of how 2/3 of the kids are feeling in school today. They feel stupid.
My son.
They get out and they're adults. They're gonna just function way below their level of potential.
Now, Ariel
What
was
I
in
was thinking
school
was
more recently than any of us, probably.
right. And I was thinking, like, when we first started school back in the second grade and the third grade, we'd be at the front of the class, like quick to answer questions, raise our hand. But as you see, as we get older, we gradually move back in the classroom. We become more quiet and we don't talk more. We don't talk as much. I think that is.
I mean, I don't know the specific. I can guess, but I think that, well, number one, schools today do not value learning. And learning is really a cool thing to do, but memorizing is really awful, and it takes your spirit away from you. It sucks the life out of you. It takes your power away. It gives the power to the teacher.
Exactly.
Sure does.
Is it like we're a computer and they just want to enter the data?
Yeah.
And then we need to spit it out?
Yeah.
That's what a computer does. I mean, a lot of these computers, I mean, they say that they're thinking for themselves, but really, somebody has entered the data, and the computer's been programmed to sort the data.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they're teaching us. Because I'm like Ariel, in grade 1, 2, 3, I was at the top of the class. I remember I was sick with chickenpox one time. I was off school for weeks. I came back and I got 100% on a test on Iceland, and I could spell Reykjavik. I can't even say it today. But the capital of Iceland is Reykjavik something, and I could spell it, and I knew that, and smart like you wouldn't believe. And then as I got older and I ended up, like Ariel, at the back of the class, then I started causing trouble.
Right.
I was just sharing with my high school friends how I set a sink on fire in science lab, and then I was bold too, so I ran up to the front of the class and I pulled the science teacher's tie. And I ran back to I don't know why I did that, but
That's
my
okay.
dad had been the principal of that high school, but he wasn't there anymore, so I got away with it.
I already knew you had that in you already.
Exactly.
But Renee, why can't we introduce this into the schools? What are they afraid of? What are they afraid? What are they afraid of us?
I'm really glad you're asking that question, because there's going to be several things coming out here. First of all, a lot of teachers, when these ideas first came out, they tried to use it in the classroom by trying to meet all the different learning needs of the kids in the classroom. It doesn't work. It won't work in a million years. I tried it. So they've tried it and they say, oh, it doesn't work. So they've gone on to other things. So part of the problem is they know it's there, but they don't know what to do with it. They just flat out don't know what to do with it. The other thing that is present is there's a bit of a pride thing.
Really?
Because
they're teachers.
what this
I come from a family of teachers.
I want to be careful here, but what this will do is it levels the playing field so that everybody in the classroom can be smart.
Oh, wow.
Everybody can get A's. And can you imagine?
So you're saying
But why don't
saying that we don't want everyone. Wait a minute. So you're saying we don't want everyone to get A's? Does that mean the teachers have to work harder because they earn their pay when they're teaching kids?
I
And
don't
everyone
know.
shouldn't get A's and be smart?
I feel like
I
and then
don't
statistics
know.
also, a lot of things.
I don't know. I've been talking my head off about this for 25 years, and the only people that are interested in what I'm talking about are nursing programs where they've never given up on real learning. So now I have an online program that any teacher can use in any classroom. The kids go through it in 2 hours on their own, and then the teacher reinforces it. It's really easy, no big deal. But there's a resistance, and I don't know what it is. I'm working on it. I keep putting it out. I know it's going to open up if I just keep saying it. But there is a a tremendous resistance to the idea. It's like they don't believe it.
Well, here's the thing. I was like Ariel. I was smart at the beginning of my life, right? I got
You still
more
are.
and more stupid, or seemingly stupid, as I got older. My grades went down, right? And then here I am at 50 years old, and I've realized my brain works differently than a lot of people. So Donna and I do a lot of videos. And I actually edit the videos. I take the material, and I edit them together, and I create pitch videos. I also do branding videos for people, for companies. But I can... a lot of people would write down exactly what they wanted in this video, how they want to lay the video out. They'd figure out exactly what things are going to go where, all that kind of stuff. That hurts me. Like, that hurts my head. And so what I do is I just take all this raw material, and I also go searching for things. So I kind of go, it's a very visual experience for me. So I go looking for pictures, I go through all the footage, and I listen to it, and I watch for things that and then I start to develop a video, like an actual, like, oh, that's how I want to put it together. And I kind of, it's like a puzzle for me. I kind of put pieces together, and then by the end, I've got a video that makes sense. But I didn't lay it out that way. I can't do that. It doesn't. It never works out. I have to play with it. I have to. It's like clay, right? I have to kind of, work with it, right? And then it starts to form into something that makes sense.
And what you're doing is you're using your spatial experiential part of your brain, which you are really talented in, and you're using that in your way, and you're allowing it to be organic and trusting it and allowing it to happen. And that's beautiful. And that's a perfect example of somebody who's using their brain correctly.
Right.
See, that's
So
how
give
we
me-
wrote our
give us an
we wrote our book, Donna.
Okay.
That's Donna and I wrote a book, The Journey of the Soul Car, and that's how we wrote it. All these people told me to write out the chapter outlines and and I was like, no, I'm just going to start writing.
Okay, so with that being said, you gave us a good example on putting the brain to use, good use. Give us an example of not putting it to use. Give us an example of someone that's not using their
Well, let me give you this example. Because I'm going to be teaching you two things at once. Let's say that you have a linguistic student in a classroom, and linguistic people, first this happened, then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, okay? And let's say they're sitting in the classroom, and the teacher is linguistic. And so the key about linguistic teachers is that they love to use a lot of words, and they love to tell stories, and they go off on they just go all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So for this logical person, it drives them crazy. They can't follow it at all.
Oh, because they go off on tangents and they start telling you a story, and then they go off one way, and then they kind of weave their way back. And
yeah, 1 minute she's talking about the first topic, and the next minute she's talking about topic 8, and then she comes back to the first topic, and then and she's all over. And this poor logical guy, he's lost. He can't follow it because it's not in order. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But can he teach himself to follow?
No, what we do is we tell them in that situation they get 7 pieces of paper. And at the top of those 7 pieces they put the major headings that this lady is going to talk about. And they mostly can get that information from they get a list of, outline of what the lecture is going to be about. So he puts those headings at the top of the papers. And so when she starts on heading number 1, he'll write notes on that page. But when she jumps over to heading number 4, He just shuffles through, finds that heading on the sheet of paper, and starts writing the notes on that. So when she's done lecturing, he has the information all sequentially organized, and he will have learned it a lot because he's not freaking out because she's gone off on a story.
So that's actually how Michael, Donna's son, could learn, because if he's very good at math, he's probably a logical thinker.
He is. He is. But see, there's another piece here. One of the things that I discovered is that people have a preference for how they encode language. Hello? Are you there?
Yeah. Keep talking.
I just lost you for a second. Okay.
The joy of internet.
Okay. So some people like to hear it. Some people like to read it. Some people like to hear it and read it together. And the differences, and this is where in that classroom when you were describing those kids, the different kids wandering and doing different things, probably lots of times I've had students who get 30% when they hear it, about 20% when they read it, but when they hear it and read it together, they get 90%.
Okay.
Okay? So if you're not even receiving the information that's being given, how can you do anything with it? And that's the first step, is figuring that out. The second step is figuring out what kind of an organizational style you like, which is linguistic, logical, or spatial. And then the next part, this all has to do with, and this, when I put this together, I was living in LA, so I have a freeway analogy.
Okay.
When you stimulate, everybody has these really strong neural pathways that I think of as 8-lane freeways in our brains, and those are our brain talents. And when information gets on one of those 8-lane freeways, it goes automatically into long-term memory. There's nothing you can do. It goes in there, and a chemical reaction happens. They just found that out, and that's the aha. So the goal here.
So what do you mean? What do you mean? We're releasing something? Hold on. You're saying our chemical reaction. Are we releasing something in our brain, or?
I don't know. I have no idea. But what happens when you learn something, there is a chemical reaction. So what I'm saying is that when you're stimulating one of those strong pathways, the information hops onto it and it goes right into long-term memory. And you will remember this stuff for a long time. And you can use the information. When you memorize something, it goes in one ear and out the other. You learn it just long enough to pass the test. But when you learn something, you can make associations, and you can apply it, and you can use it, and you can think with it.
So you actually understand the material. So with math, I don't get math, and now I understand that there's new fancy math. I think I would probably have problems with. I haven't even looked at it, but I'm hearing people saying this core concept. Is that what it's called, Donna? It's just crazy.
Common core.
Common core.
But you know what? If you knew how to use your brain, you could use it correctly and understand it and be okay. You would be okay. I've been working with a student who is, he's a math student, and he's an older guy, and we found out that he's talented in knowing, he's spatial, but he's also talented in knowing self. And so in order to, the type of thing that he needs to do, that when he's trying to learn something, he has to teach it to something, like the wall or a dog or a cat or whatever. So when he was showing me the kind of, he was watching these videos, and I said, yeah, that's important, but then you have to take that information and teach it, because that's how it was going to get onto that 8-lane freeway and get into long-term memory. So he could use it and apply it.
So there's you have to be able to understand you have to understand the material. Like you said, aha. It's like that aha moment. Oh, I get it.
That's what's missing in education. The kids are not having those experiences. They're not getting excited about the subject. You know, they're memorizing for the test, and that's it. And when they get out of college, you ask them, what did you get? And they say nothing.
That's
and then
true.
they are, so they go, and there's nothing wrong with being a waitress, but if you have a BA degree and an aptitude for being a teacher, I have a friend that she's a waitress because she doesn't feel like she's capable of being a teacher, which is sad.
Settling.
That's really interesting that you say that, because I see that now without even getting into high school. I see the kids cramming to learn something, to memorize something to do on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
All week long we come home, get the vocabulary words. I hardly have time to explain to my son what the words mean. He's so busy trying to memorize how to spell it and how to say it instead of knowing what it means. And so it's hard for him later on in life to see that word. He may remember it, Renee, but he will not know what it means. And that's scary to me.
It's scary to me, and it breaks my heart, and it's, you know, I am trying to reach out to students all over this country to let them know that they can be successful. And that's what I'm all about, because I know what it feels like. It feels horrible. And you guys know that too. You became troublemakers because
Yes.
you didn't.
Well, I did. Ariel didn't say she was a troublemaker.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
did too.
but you lost,
Okay.
She was a troublemaker. She was.
you lost your love of learning. I mean, it just went out the door. You weren't
It's becoming a job now. It's like a job for these kids. They come home with so much stuff, Renee, and it's nothing, like you said, it's not learning. It's all memorizing. Every subject is nothing but, memorizing.
And it all comes from No Child Left Behind.
That's
where
right.
Everybody was so scared, I'm going to get fired if my students don't pass this test, which was a joke. Anyway.
I'm going to be kicked off the football team.
Right.
You know, something like that.
Exactly.
Stay up to stay on the team or anything like that.
So
I'm sure a lot of our audience members are thinking about how they learned the best. You know, you do know, like if somebody shows me something, I got it. If you say it to me, I'm like, oh, pretty little butterfly. I'm just like completely, like I lose you in about 2 seconds. I do it with Donna if I can't see her. If we're having a meeting and she's trying to explain something to me and I'm just on the phone with her and I can't see her and I can't see her expressions and I can't see her hand gestures and I can't, maybe look at me as I'm talking to her. This kind of setup is really good for me. Then I lose her. The other day, she had this whole concept laid out, and just because we were on the phone, I had to call her the next day and ask her to explain it to me again. Because I was really distracted.
You know sort of what your talents are, but if you really knew your talents and you could use those talents to transform any situation so that it works for you, you wouldn't have to do it. That's the trick, is that we're all at the effect of what's coming at us until we understand how our brain works, how we receive information, what we need to do to get it. We're at the effect of that until we know that information and start taking responsibility for it.
Well,
that is super powerful.
I think we're so used to people telling us that we can't do something, that we forget that we can. We don't think we're scared to think that we can.
Yeah. I mean, how many people say, oh, I can't do math?
Right.
My son every day.
Everybody can do math. everybody has got an amazing computer. We can all do math. We can do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And so how do we get your book so we can do it? Because I
Exactly.
love this. I think this has just been great to
I want-
understand, aha, I got it, that I have a different way of learning than, say, Donna does.
Absolutely. My website is youaresmarterthanyoutthink.com. So go there. You can buy the book there. Go and look at the online training. There's a trailer. I like that. Somebody called it a trailer. And it's video of the online training, so you can see what it's like. And it's really fun. And the kids love it. They go through it in 2 hours, and then they can go back and refresh their memory over a month. So it's really a great. It's the new way to learn. But there's also a book. And the book goes with the online training. When you sign up for the online training, you get a copy of the book too.
Okay.
Awesome. It is time to put the attitude shift in park for the night. I want to thank Renee Mollan-Masters. You are smarter than you think.
You are too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We all are smarter than we think. We just have to put our minds to it and shift our attitudes about what we can't do and turn it into what we can and will do.
Time to put her in park, Donna.
All right, I'm going to put her in park, and that's what I'm going to say. We can do it. We're smart. We have the brain power. We have to stop letting people kind of dictate to us what we can learn, and we've got to step outside of the triangle and learn and explore things for ourselves. That's what we have brains for. So let's do that. What's up next week, Siobhan, before I sign? Do we know?
Do I know? No, I don't learn that way. I gotta see something. I gotta see something that happens in our week, and then I have to just, decide if that's what we're gonna do with you.
Okay, you two. It's been fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Until we meet again, everybody. Next week on behalf of the Attitude Shift, Donna M. Butler, Siobhan Shaw, Roadside Kick, Ariel Butler. Until we meet again, keep it real and, stay the course. Mwah. Peace out.
Peace.